move in a minute.
Live, exactly. So we are live. Hopefully we are. That is wonderful news. So yes, today Kate will be a master of ceremonies today and moderating. So thank
Love
you,
it.
Kate, and we will have a. I'm sure it will be interesting. They gave me this title of the transmission quite a few days ago, and they have sort of been elaborating on showing me the energies of this 1111 portal. So on the Zoom call, if you would, you can just make yourself known in the chat and ask a question, or and then step forward and we rotate with one question per asker questioner, and then we get all the way back around. And the same goes for YouTube. You can just post questions in the comment field, and then the moderator or people on the Zoom call will read it to us, and it will be all good there. So and of course, if you want a deeper type of experience with any of these energies, I'm also available for personal sessions, and you can reach out through my website. So without further ado, I look very much forward to what Qanta has to tell us this day, and I hope you also enjoy. I'll see you on the other side, guys. Have a good one.
So,
Yes, 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 yes. Hello, hello,
welcome,
hello.
welcome.
Thank you very much to you, Kate, and to who we hear, and to all of you joining us in now and on any time in the time space on which you may turn your attention to this event that is unfolding. Know that you are participating with your attention. You are creating and co-creating this unfolding, and we are so very thankful that you are willing to unfold this experience with us. For those of you who are acquainted with us, we have many unknown names, but we are that universal energy that is conscious and expressed in many of your traditions. It has been named Chi or Ki, it has been named Kundalini or Prana, it has been named Holy Spirit, it has been named Mana, it is known as many things, it is known as life force, and we are many things. But this day, we come to you from the 12th dimension, where we reside in perfect understanding and harmony. And we want to explain to you on this most auspicious day of the 1111 exactly what energies are aligning. You may know that the 11 in and of itself is the portal energy. It is that energy that leads up from the movable dimensions into what is truly eternal, that dimension you knew once as paradise. And the 1111 is the pearly gates, that is the entrance that for so long you have needed to enter into the non-physical. That is to say, you have needed to die to experience what is actually going on in the eternal realms. And you have often envisioned this place as a quite somber place. You know, that boring vision of angels hanging out on separate clouds playing harps in a sort of uninspired fashion. But know that we reside in the most playful of all dimensions, and you are beginning to align with that playfulness. You may feel a sense of tingling hopefulness beginning to emerge at the end of this crazy year of your time experience, 2020, this cycle. And know that what will happen the next year will in many ways be enough for many of you to consider this a type of year one of new experience. Many things will unfold, but they will do so for each and all of you by allowing yourself to enter into that space where you actually align with the energies of paradise that are available to you. You have your feet planted in this dimension as much as you have them planted on your Mother Earth, that sweet energy which is also awakening within you. You are becoming multidimensional. You are becoming multifaceted. You are realizing that you can be at several places at once, and that the keys of heaven have been handed to you, and you are now free to open and unlock the pearly gates in your experience. This is what we mean by going beyond the portal. And on this auspicious day, we align with your energy and your perception of symbolic reality by coming in to you on a date and a place that is in many ways obscure. Its energies are undefined, and this allows for the portal to open both within you and within the higher spaces in which we reside. And then we communicate, we reach out to you, and we unfold that love within your heart, which makes us able to experience the cosmos as we intended it to be experienced when we first wrote it and helped construct it. With that transmission, we remind you that we are so happy to be here with you this day. We open and offer an energetic massage right now to anyone who might reach out with their intention and let themselves be touched by our healing tendrils springing from that substratum, that world of the superstrings. We are very happy to have you here, and we look forward to answering your questions. Will one of you offer us a question this day to get us started?
Yes, hello, greetings. I am Salish here.
Yes, hello, Sailish. It is a pleasure to meet you again.
Okay, excellent. Our question is something that is to do with today. Um, the First World War that we had ended and peace was scored at 11/11 on the 11th of 11. What
Yes.
specific reason would that have been for that at this particular time? Because that was well over 100 years ago.
Yes, but it's the idea that these transformative shifts are often quite coordinated with your symbolic reality. It can be very hard to perceive from individual experience, but see, your mass consciousness actually limited.
Hello, I've lost. Can you hear me?
I do believe that something has interrupted our transmission.
That is perfect. You are hearing me again now, I assume.
Now I am, yes.
All these energy fields. Okay, good.
All right.
We'll be back, and just let me know if
If you go
there's
out,
anything up. Excellent.
yes.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, you see again on these energy dates, the barriers between what is collective spiritual experience and what is material experience of the individual can become kind of muddled. And notice that this is also the time around your All Hallows Eve where your traditions usually hold that that the realms between the spiritual and or the borders between the realm of the ghosts and the spirits and the realm of men become sort of obscure. And you could think of this as these numerological significances. They play out in the same way. So that's a way it settles itself by actually wanting to perceive itself in numbers. And of course there is a type of equal alignment in the year 2020. So we know, for instance, that we transmitted in one of our earliest, perhaps not actually our very earliest transmission through this vessel, that 2020 would be perfect vision. And you actually have that image of a type of scaling, because 20 also in most of your counting systems encompass the natural system of numbers. So you actually have a type of names and personal relationships up into the numbers up until 20. And then you become ready to reboot within this palindromic space, that is to say that mirrored space where these dimensions overlap. We hope this is understandable, and we are, of course, very willing to answer follow-ups.
Okay, it makes sense at the moment. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your beautiful question, and our blessings to you. Yes.
Are there any other questions in the Zoom room that would like to be asked?
Yeah, hi, this is Kevin. I have a question.
Yes. Greetings, Kevin. It is a pleasure to meet you.
Hello, Qanta. Likewise. So I know that there's infinite number of possible lifetimes and incarnations. I was just wondering if you could tap into my most probable future Earth lifetime, describe that a bit to me, and let me know how it could serve me in my current now.
Yes. You see, it's a good question. There is, we will begin by the preliminary to let you know that usually when people take a certain type of conscious charge of their life, such as you yourself have, and that your interaction with this practice is also an expression of, that means that your future realities become sort of volatile to predict from our perspective, because you are able to consciously direct your own process in your lifetime. That being said, we do see that there is a type of accumulation of understanding that what you are going through in this decade of your life, which is matching up again with the more collective energies. It's a type of, it's not necessarily a crisis, but you could think of it as a type of accumulation. So it's the period the caterpillar has before it where it really feeds itself and fattens up in order to perform the metamorphosis it will do within the cocoon. And that's in many ways what you are undertaking in the coming 8 years. And then we see a type of, that's not to say that you won't have fun with it, and we do sense you enjoying it, but then we see a type of crystallization within a type of practice or social organization that you are yet to imagine, but it will be a type of combination of some physical expressions, along with, we sense you have been aligning with that thing called the hybrid program, and there are some tendencies where you will also help align the Earth Collective more within your Earth space, and that is then within that next decade. So we see that beginning at the end of this decade and moving into 2030, you will begin to see yourself dedicated to a more type of, yes, actually physical organization of the framework in order to collect to create these type of hybrid enclaves, and that will be very beneficial to you. From that point on, we sense it is best to let that lifetime remain an adventure, but it is not to say that it will not continue for quite a long deal further, as you will also discover ways to prolong your life within that second decade we have described to you.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, and our blessings to you in that and all your endeavors.
Yes, Kathy has a question. Kathy, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. I do have a question. This is kind of a personal and kind of a fun question.
Yes.
So today being 11/11, it is
Yes.
also my birthday.
Yes.
So
congratulations.
what? Oh, well, thank you. What? Now I know a lot of my my background for my soul contract and who my soul family is, but I am very interested in what your perspective would be on why a soul would choose that particular date to be born when they were planning their soul contract. Why
Yes.
would I why would I have chosen this date? What's the significance of it?
Yes, this is a beautiful and fun question, because of course there are some specifics in your astrological chart that also align more with you, but it is because you can sense you could say in a sense that you are, well, you're more of an angelic walker than or what is also known as an earth angel than a starseed. And so it has been a way for you to sort of, keep the letter home open. So it's so it is a way in which you could think of the 1111. Well, it almost is the image of a letter, so you just need to tip one over and then put it between the other, and then you have the letter back to the angelic realms. And that has in many ways been what you have been able to do by keeping this in mind. So there has been a type of excitement always connected to remembering your date of birth and knowing that there was something mystical and intriguing about that. And also, as you have experienced, as you have progressed more in your examination of spiritual matters, you have also experienced that telling this actually triggers a type of positive aha effect in many of your surroundings. And this also works very beneficially to you in this lifetime.
Yes.
Yes.
Beautiful. That was a beautiful explanation. Thank you. I resonate very well with that.
Thank you very much. And thank you for coming here to Earth and allowing us to share in this energy, because the resonance with your angelic family also is then even stronger on this day where you sort of take heed of your incarnation, which birthdays can be seen as a celebration of. So we congratulate you again and let you know that you are guided and loved.
Thank you very much.
Thank
Much
you.
blessings.
Many blessings.
Definitely. Happy birthday, Kathy. I didn't know.
Thank you, Kate.
Mindy, you have a question next?
Sure. Thank you so much. I guess my question is more just kind of guidance, or my awakening has kind of been recent, and
Yes.
it's
Can we ask you to give us your name? We know we just heard it, but we love to hear you say it.
Sure, Mindy.
Yes, a pleasure to meet you, Mindy. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Nice to meet you as well.
Yes.
So more just where I'm going with this, or what's to be expected, and any advice to get me in that direction where I'm serving my highest good and and doing my soul purpose.
It's you already point to it with your laughter, because that's actually a good way to go about it. You will be faced with some, we mean this in a positive way, but some crazy stuff. But you could almost use the image or the archetype of the circus. When there's people flying around over the ceiling, and all of the sudden that the clowns come in and they go around in small cars, and there's an elephant that's making noises, and so you will experience a type of overwhelming sense of awe at what's going on for you. but there we would simply remind you that you are being accompanied by your entire soul family, and that you are accumulating a lot of energy, and that you are being guided by that, and there's reason to also laugh at the things that will be going on. But we see that that you will begin to uncover your purpose. It will simply sprout from within you, but we do sense that there is a connection to, this is interesting, we're getting the color red and something quite globe-like, and it may actually be the heart energy, but we sense it's a type of sharing is caring energy. So you may feel called to nurture at some point, and it's okay to also know that to offer yourself restitution, and allow yourself to also take, quiet spaces and those things. That's perfectly all right, because nothing is demanded of you. You are loved by the heavens simply by coming here.
Wonderful, beautiful answer. Salish, is there a question from the YouTube?
Yes, there is. Okay. It's from, hello, this is Karina.
Yes.
Love to you.
Thank you. Blessings to you, Karina.
Please explain to me this most recent shift with awareness to my birth mother and why I am being given this information. How is this assisting me now? Blessings.
Yes. We do sense, and please correct us if the channel misheard, but that the question was that there has been a revelation in regards to her birth mother and how that is serving her now. Notice again, and on this auspicious day, that things are becoming revealed, and so that sense of identity loss, almost of wilderness or bewilderment, that sense of actually being lost in the world, in the woods, it's coming to an end for you. And what more natural way for that to shift than for you to align with the realization of your full biological story. So the realization that you are actually not only a personality born out of the constructs of the people you have been surrounded with, but that you are also a biological being that is carrying on a process of life from creation that hails back into your mother and into her mother and into her mother and back into all the life-giving entities that have progressed before you, back onto the great creation of that thing that is the everything that we are partaking in. And so there is a release within this, and we would say that the advice that we offer you is to both scream and cry in this, and know that both your tears and your frustration are welcome as a release, and that it is very helpful for you to connect to this aspect of yourself again. And we bless you in this process.
Thank you, and that was for Karina. I have a question, and I'm wondering if you could speak to us around the fact of this 1111 portal being for the reunion of the twin flames on Earth, and your perception of that.
Yes, that is very beautiful. Know that we have spoken of, as many of these ascended star beings have spoken of, is the 11th dimensional expression, is your perfect expression as a human. And see, this is of course interesting, because when the blueprint of an ascended race is made or created in the 11th dimension and then transmitted into time, it is made in a type of, you could use different words. Isogynous, we believe, is one. Androgynous would be another, meaning that it is actually composed of two sexes. But know that these sexes are also split into two types of personality. So there is a vision of the perfect human female as a separate entity, and there is a vision of the perfect human male as a separate entity. And both these visions live within both the female and the male in equal perfect harmony in your own higher soul expression. But as a twin flame, that is to say, incarnate, some of you become aligned with the remembrance and the realization of your own divine nature. And you become so aligned with this realization, you become so relaxed into the enjoyment of it, that the material world, which you still choose to experience, is illuminated by that love and enjoyment. And then there is a sense of enrichment and also possibility of creation and the possibility of influencing more of the world with light by drawing that mirror image to you. So a person that has the same corresponding vibration and remembrance in, but in another sexual counter image. And that's not to say that this isn't possible within, that the twin flame reunion isn't possible within the homosexual relationships, but there is a type of mirroring energy that is, let us say, more complex in the way it recognizes itself. Not to get too sidetracked within that particular discourse, but it is simply to say that it is perfection of the perfection of humanity that remembers itself and then chooses to express itself by coming to that mirror and that reflection. And that is in many ways two 11th dimensional beings that then remember themselves in time space and meet up in order to relish being here. You could think of that as a way that we would perceive the twin flame reunion, but know that these things occur for you also in smaller scale. That is to say that in order to be able to actually perceive that thing which you may think of as a romantic reunion, notice that there are a lot of pure recognitions going on in your lifetime where you come upon other human beings who maybe even just in a short instance mirror that part of you back to you, and you feel that sense of meaningful recollection experienced in both of you. And that is actually a type of the twin flame reflection. And we would also go so far as to illuminate you. That is to say that, we believe Carl Gustav Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist and philosopher, he observed that incest was in many cultures the prerogative of royalty and of deities. And it is actually this type of twin flame reunion where the same oversoul, purified, comes back to know itself also carnally in the world, that is in many ways expressed in that type of weird idea that royalty are actually permitted to inbreed, which is a taboo among humans, but is also permitted in the heavens between the gods. So we hope that sheds some light on it, and we think it is a very beautiful question to ask on this day. We were very happy to answer it.
Yes, that had very deep meaning. We'll have to listen to that a few times. Okay, we'll go to Salish on YouTube, please.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, hello. This question from Alexandru Popa.
Yes.
Hello, I have a question. I'm having short experiences that start with a strong feeling in my heart solar plexus, and my mind goes into something that feels like a memory. But after that, I can't remember. Could you tell me what these experiences are and how I could remember the content? Maybe even experience more of them. Thank you.
Yes, could you, because the ears didn't pick up exactly. So he's experiencing these feelings in his heart, but then he can't remember. But what is the feeling that he said he was having in his heart before he couldn't remember?
And then after that, he doesn't remember, it says.
Okay,
So it says,
yes.
feelings in my heart sort of passes, and my mind goes into something that feels like a memory. But
Yeah,
after that, I can't remember.
yes. Now we follow. Thank you very much, and we see clearly our blessings to you, Alexandru. We see clearly that this is a type of, you could think of it as a cavernous space. There are many myths about this in your cultures and traditions. The idea of walking from the cave opening of your heart down into those spaces where you actually seek to uncover the treasure hiding within the unknown reaches of your psyche, which is also usually the unknown reaches of your body. And notice, for most of you, there is a type of natural unconsciousness sitting around your whole digestive and reproduction systems. So you could think of what is happening is that this is a type of cave opening, and we sense that you are also inclined somewhat towards what is known as the gothic, or maybe the have some dark tones. So you could think of it as this place where, well, also the trolls and the elves and the different creatures that inhabit the netherworld realms of your spirit, they are opening up and calling you down there to examining it. And they are quite helpful because they're also quite merciful in actually letting this process take place more in your mental or spiritual recollections. So the reason that you don't necessarily recall it mentally afterwards is because that that there is more a sense or a need for you to
Hello, can you hear me there?
thank you so much, guys. Could you we are jumping back. Could you tell us at one point, are you aware what point we jumped out and became dislodged from the electronic signal?
About 2 minutes ago.
Okay, perfect. So we said this is we you didn't get the chant, we sense. So we're getting the chant. It's to say that it's a cavern opening up in your heart, and the chant is rum rum. Here I come down the caverns of my life, and there you go, envisioning yourself down there, walking down with a torch, and there you will meet these creatures who inhabit these caverns, who are taking you there in order to help you really shed light on a lot of processes and help you digest a lot of stuff in your experience. And that will be very helpful, we sense to you. And yes, thank you for letting us know. Let us also remind you that these changing frequencies, especially in these manifestations, can affect the electrical outputs, and so that is also a part of the process of change. Yes.
Thank you. And are there other questions from YouTube still? Salish?
Yes. Okay.
Thank-
This one's from Shane.
Yes.
How accurate are Robert Monroe's accounts of the out-of-body experience and different levels of consciousness? Is there any way to navigate higher up the levels when you go beyond the dream state?
Well, yes. You see, since the channel is not acquainted lexically with this information, we can only scan it energetically. That is to say, the information that's been retrieved, and then read it from your perception in the Akashic field. But we sense it's quite accurate. So, from our perspective, of course, all these are constructions or symbolic systems. That's not to say that they aren't real, but it's to say that they are sort of type of scaffolding that entities use to make their way around time space, much as you would also use clothing to suited to specific needs, depended on what situation you found yourself in on the planet. But there is a state beyond the dream state, and that's what we would call, at least that is what we intuit, what we would call the creative state. So there is that place where we inhabit, which is actually, and that is also why we inform ourselves as the Qanta, which is the substratum. That is to say, we aren't really separate into anything. We're a unity of everything. But as soon as you begin to perceive us, we become separate into things that you would probably perceive first as type of geometric mirrorings. Again, the 1111, notice 4 points make that structure of power, actually makes the possibility of a conduit possible. And that is, in a sense, that state you will reach, which is a type of state of meaningfulness before meaning occurs in any type of shape. And that's what we inhabit. So meaning for us is transcendent and universal, and takes place on that unfolded state. And there you can join us and be able to perceive it, but you can only perceive it with your heart. And these words that we transmit to you are only ways to find your way back to that remembering. And our blessings to you for that beautiful question.
Thank you. We'll go to the Zoom room for a moment for the question from JX.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, greetings.
Hello. Yes, thank you. Pleasure, David. Blessings to you. It is good to meet you.
Thank you. There's a deer in the backyard right now, quite beautiful. So I'm wondering, I've asked this question a lot from different people, and I like different perspectives, and I'm still looking for clarity on what's been going on with me for the past month with all these changes. I guess there was a time where I was having some energetic interference. I don't know if they were attacks, but I was experiencing a lot of things, and ever since then my health and my blood pressure and all sorts of things have been kind of crazy, and I'm just looking for some guidance as to what's going on with me right now, and if how to make things more balanced and back to what I perceive as normal.
Yes. It's a beautiful question. Yes, we would almost say our condolences, but we don't mean that. We mean to console you, because it's because you're riding on a type of timing. So you're actually very much aligned with the collective human consciousness. How you experience this, and how people also will experience this around you, is a type of emissary energy. So you're carrying a lot of energy from the other realms forward, and this might actually make itself known as those attacks, because as you begin to stream in more and more energy, well, partially your physical body is resisting. It's simply having to reconfigure at a pace that it doesn't find pleasant. And at the same time, this also makes it vulnerable not only to the stirrings in your collective, but also some of those demons that, yeah, we are using the image that they attach yourself to your energetic field, but in many ways it's personifications of unconscious spaces that are being clarified and purified. And in a way, what, for instance, the low blood pressure is asking you to is to turn down your flame to a quiet level, and then allow those subtle semantics of Mother Earth and also the higher dimensions, because we are, but in the personal presentation that we appear to you, we are coming through with a lot of transformative energy, and we are so happy that you're being patient with us, because we know it's really hard, and the things you can do is, we sense that if you would actually sing over the water and then make a type of ritual, it sounds strange to the vessel we're coming through, but we sense it will make sense to you that if you make a ritual of drinking a gallon of water a day, we're getting the number 3 liters here, but a gallon would be fine. But then separating it into 7 units and then singing over them as a ritual, and actually doing this for a week. So that's 7 times 7 of purified water would be something that would help you bring you back to that alignment that you seek. And then also try to eat heavy foods such as lentils, for instance, cabbage, other such like foods would be good for you in this week where you do this process.
Okay, that's beautiful. Yeah, I like that idea. There's a Dr. Emoto in the consciousness of the water and how your consciousness connects to everything and affects it. So that's,
yes,
yeah,
exactly. And the multidimensionality is so strong in you, so you will experience how you almost reconfigure that type of molecular grid that reorders and rewires the energy and actually carries the information of the cosmos within the water molecules. So there will be a revelation within that experiment for you too.
And what's a little clarity on what type of singing? I mean, should I do toning or light language or just regular, whatever
We sense a
feel?
combination, so whatever you feel. So actually we sense that toning will be good, and that will begin to stretch itself out to a type of light language that will be, it won't carry so much semantics, but you will sense have the feeling of a blessing that has certain configurational properties within its tonal shifts coming forward through you.
All right, that is so amazing, wonderful, and beautiful.
We are so happy to help you, and we thank you. Of course, we also bless you, but we thank you very much for the work you are doing and undertaking in this place.
Oh, yeah, there's interesting stuff going on. Yeah, I've heard. Still learning as I go. Can I speak a little light before I?
Yes, please share the light with us and the rest of the collective. Thank you.
Peace, love, and healing, protection, balance, joy, wisdom. Kiamana niato iata shiamana no okuata rehetiamana niato. Shura okuma anya shkret kurtikba anya rukutuishana yakarhotum mana niatiara. Much love. Namaste.
Much love. Thank you. And we sense the vibrational rising of this beautiful incantation taking spell or taking place and being sung within all your energetic bodies. Thank you. We would ask, is there some other dear human that would ask us a question?
I have a question.
Yes.
Actually, I was wondering if it would be possible for you to.
Yes, may we ask your name, sweet one?
Oh, I'm Carol.
Thank you, Carol. Blessings. Good to meet you this day, sweet human.
I'm just curious, is it possible for you to sound us some of your light language? Because that way we can recognize the light language of others that speak. Maybe we can recognize that it is from your light language.
Yes, we would certainly love to. Iskidandi, Orali to Dandi, Artuaki to Iski, Ifrimzi, Duatsuan, the Alruati, Larquasti, Fulampru, in Urampru, Sakti to Andasiwaki. It proved that he to Hasuan to Ambin to us. It would have these to a tree, Akiga Kuakido. Ikling Daksku, the Yes. A vibration is transmitted and carried across the universe in order to reach you in that space. Know that you are never separate, but it was foreseen that it was better to perceive yourself as one among the many, and then to let yourself be set alight by these singing vibrations that come from source and find its way into human tongues and modular songs to comfort and open your hearts. Blessed are you, humans, and we thank you for that question.
Thank you. You mentioned at the beginning, I have a request. Is it possible to have a healing or being touched around my left ear? My left ear has had problems since I went swimming. Water went in my ear and I have problems with my ear. So if you could, I will accept touching and healing from my left ear, please.
Yes, you see, we are simply using the hand in order for you to envision that there is actually a light being standing in front of you, emitting this energy into your beautiful, radiant body. Know that this is simply a block and that it is removed by this rotation. Then you will begin to see the influx. Try to give yourself the permission slip of when you go to bed tonight, then doing 3 taps on the ear and then saying, now I want to hear like I used to, and then allow yourself to do a type of singing clearing. So just a high pitched tone that you would like. Ooh. We sense your personal vibration will be different, but you will find that tone and that will help you clear it out. It should be better in the morning.
Thank you. I have another question.
Yes, dear one, we would advise you to rotate and then come back with it later. That would be better.
Thank you. And Laura has a question at this time. Laura, go ahead.
Yes, thank you.
My love and gratitude to you. Thank you for all that's being received.
Thank you so much for allowing us to interact with you also on this day. And it is a pleasure to meet you again, Laura. We have met before.
Yes, you're with me always.
Yes, we are.
My first question today is for my ex-mother-in-law.
Yes.
She's been estranged from her youngest son for many years, but she's kind of keeps contact with my ex-husband and her granddaughter Brianna's other set of grandparents on how they're doing. His name is Doug.
Yes.
And the granddaughter's name is Brianna, and she's been picking up on something going on being problematic for him within his immediate family. And she's just wondering if there's anything that that you can pick up on that anyone in the family can do for him. I think he spends quite a lot of time going down some pretty dark internet
Yes.
conspiracy rabbit hole type things.
Yes. And we see this is a good question, and it also allows us to shed light on it, because what is also prevalent and obvious in these portal energies is that you are being allowed to access more energy in your personal experience. Or see, as many of you might, for instance, remember that we were telling the channel about this earlier today when he was preparing in the meditation, for instance, that there was a type of collective fear energy around the nuclear bomb in his upbringing, and certainly in the upbringing of those people who are older than him. And that fear energy has sort of vanished, even though that there is still actually lots of nuclear weapons on the planet. But you have sort of phased out of this type of collective fear energy, and it has become available to you through, for instance, technological remedies. But it is an illustration of your creation, of your own experience, then to seek out information and to seek out the creation of your personal experience by having that mirrored back to you. And what is so difficult by watching one of your loved ones go down a path where you can see that it is not benefiting to you? We will first offer the advice that was given to you also by that being, as the Christ, who said about the false prophets of the end times that you shall know them by their fruits. And that is to say that when you're engaging with information and you see people engaging with a lot of information, then try to recognize how it's making you feel. And the problem, of course, is that if people are seeking out a hurt space where they are validating that hurt for themselves, it becomes very difficult to reach them with compassion without belittling that information, and belittling their own sense of autonomy, which they are also trying to regain. And of course, what has been illustrated for all of you in 2020 is that autonomy is a really hard thing to keep. It's essentially an illusion, because you have a physical body, and that physical body relies on being upheld and interacting with other human beings and being sustained by them. And therefore you actually have to coordinate your reality, and that's painful when you feel that then your freedom is being infringed upon, and you can't control your life. So we are also offering some general advice. The more specific advice in Doug's life, we sense, is actually to remind him that there is another way, and that is to say, not to necessarily engage him on the substance that he's saying, but just to sometimes send him a sentence or two, or a message that just says that, maybe brings up a fond memory we had together, or sends him a picture of a time where there wasn't this type of conflict and sense of separation, which we also feel he's drawn towards. So just reminding him that there is that, and reminding him that he's actually as welcome as a part of the family, that will be good for him, because there is something that needs to be processed and accepted. And that is in many ways that loneliness is also a choice. And you may see that this type of, it's interesting, and we know we are speaking into an American character, so we will use that most American of archetypes of John Wayne, that the strong silent type, and of course realize that in many ways John Wayne was also personally, we believe, a person who smoked about 100 cigarettes and spent a lot of time keeping down his emotional realities and putting on a tough facade. And of course, realizing, especially in the reality of many men, that this is not a sustainable or a beneficial way to live for them, and that they need to open towards their own fragility and sense of confusion and lack of autonomy. And that's how they can actually begin to build something with others that might be be positive. So we hope that, and we are of course willing to answer follow-ups, but we hope that that sheds some light on this quite, in many ways, too common dilemma in the present human experience of this trying year.
It was beautiful. Thank you. I think just in follow-up, you feel him becoming untethered from his daughter?
Well, yes, but we sense it's a superficial tethering. So it's not a severing of that close intimate bond they have, but it is a type of moving away. So for instance, it can be actually very positive to separate yourself from family members in order to explore that pain and then rediscover what's important to you. So we would assure you that in the long run, this will actually help them strengthen their bond. But we do sense that what you are experiencing is right, perceived as immediate surface reality.
Thank you so much. Many blessings.
Many blessings to you too.
Thank you. We have Sue ready to ask her question, please.
Yes.
Hi, this is Sue, and
Yes, pleasure to meet you,
I've
Sue.
been much blessings. I have been experiencing some health challenges, probably a little over a month now, with like a rash all over my body, kind of allergic rash, and it's been slow to go away. And I've been trying lately an Ayurvedic diet and some Chinese herbs, and it sounds like my Ayurvedic doctor wants me to try a homeopathic remedies next, but he said there's some heat around the area of my left kidney, and it might be related to like stuck emotions that I need to release. And I wonder if you have any other, I guess, insight on things I could try to help. I know I'm going through a purging process, releasing toxins, I think to help prepare me for the next phase of my spiritual journey. So if you have any other insight around that or my purpose would be great.
Yes. Thank you so much for that question, Sue. And we would just also thank you for making our jobs easy for us. That is to say that your intuition is completely spot on, because this is a type of flushing of your system. And so your homeopathic counselor is correct, but we would just assure you that this process will pass in. So the rash will disappear, but a way you can do it is, and of course, drink lots of water. But that is to begin to flush your system, and we sense that partially there is that. Well, the universal, the breath of fire, the Kapalabhati, which if you do that for 3 minutes once a day will begin to actually flush your system, but more beneficial, because we actually sense that the left side is a place that would be good for you to clear up. So if you begin to working also on doing the grasshopper pose, which is lying on your stomach and then lifting your legs and often lifting your arms, and we actually sense that it would be good for you to do, a kind of Superman. So you're bending upwards. It's a back bend, but on your stomach, and so lifting your feet and your arms forward, and there you can then work on doing again that type of where you actually rock a little on your belly, and then try to do that breath of fire while you do that, and that will help flush and purify your systems and your organs in particular. And you can also look into that system, which is called, what is the name? Is the type of kriya where you empty your you usually do a squat, and then you empty your and you have to have an empty stomach to do this, and you empty your stomach completely of air, and then you pump it without air, and then you fill it and contain the air, and then you empty it completely and then pump it without air. And that is also a very helpful way. And these are some of these very traditional, helpful yogic techniques that are quite powerful. But once you have already begun and released this process, so it is a type of autonomous process that's running within you, then you are simply forwarding it, and you will begin to see this clarification also. From it you will emerge to, we know it will also be a kind of a bothersome, a cumbersome winter with dealing with these health issues, but you will begin clearly as you emerge into spring also to get the sense of a new type of bodily radiance, which will be very alive within you, and also centered around the upper part of your shoulder blades, and you will begin to see yourself speaking your truth way more. So a type of this rash is, you know, the metaphor of so someone gives you a rash, and like hidden in that is of course the intuitive sense that when you suppress, you take in energies and then suppress them, then they actually release themselves in forms such as physiological irritation. And this is pointing towards that you flushing this is actually pointing towards you becoming a way more outspoken and truthful person. So really living your power and your vision.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome and blessed on this path, and we thank you for undertaking it.
Salish, you have a question?
Yes, I do. It's Selish here again.
Yes, pleasure.
Okay, this is to do with the election that's going on in the United States of America, and the effects of it have a major implication for the whole world. Now, there's a Syrian entity, a highly evolved Syrian entity, that relayed a message saying that neither Biden nor Trump will hold the presidency, and that someone else will assume the position in order to avoid a civil war. What perspective do you have on this statement?
Yes, this is a very interesting. Question, because no, of course, that coming from the 12th dimension, we see these things as explained in multiple timelines, but it has been revealed to you. So what this event in many ways has brought up is conflict energy, and this conflict energy is very strong. So you do sense the release of new possibilities within simply, well, that the election has taken place. But our perspective is also, we are scanning what is allowed to be revealed and what is helpful for you to know. But our perspective is also that you will see a type of, not necessarily a Game of Thrones, but more Game of Chairs. So you know that game where there's always a chair and there's someone left out, and they will sometimes make a scene before it works that way. But then you will see that the chairs actually keep moving, because the images of government have been thoroughly torn down within the psyche, not only of this political body and the people who live within it, but also the global population who identify with the order that it used to represent. And we do sense that there will be a type of shift in the political order, but it will have to be multilateral. So that is to say that the entire idea of the image of the king, you could think of it, and of course we know that the idea of the president or an elected monarch was an enlightened or evolved idea of a king, but it's still the idea of that person who is able to hold authority and wield it better than other people, and that will begin to start to yes, dissemble itself, become different, and you are already seeing this process. So what you can expect, and we do see the most likely thing that is, from our perspective in the timelines we are reading, that the people here are present on, is that the individual known to you as Joe Biden will attain the mantle of that presidentship, but then he will actually emerge into a role where you will see another type of paralyzation of this office. So it will become a type of different. We know you have that term of the lame duck. So there will be an urgent need for actually government intercession, or the need for collective action in order to avoid some unpleasant things, and this will begin to shift. So it will be some conflict preceding it, and then you will see the emergence of a new type of authority within that system, and that will it will show its face in the late stages of 2021, and then in 2025. So we don't see the next presidential election proceeding in any way similar to this one, but there will be a type of election that will actually be more democratic in the way you may construe it. So more of direct influence for the people who cast their votes. We hope this makes sense to you.
It does. Is it something along the lines of two parties, and they'd have someone in between who would be a kind of a negotiator between the two parties, who would be making the ultimate decisions?
Yes, but you will also begin to know what we sense is actually that notice that the party structure in and of itself holds so much animosity. So what we believe we have also taught you in other channelings is that the two are necessarily at odds. So if you create a system that's based on the opposition of two, then it will create this type of dichotomy, or for one part wanting to eradicate the other instead of seeking a balance or a way to coexist. And this means that you will actually begin to see a type of representation. So what we sense is that there will be, you could almost think of it with the limited knowledge of American history that we are scanning from the channel, that it's a type of new continental Congress. So you will begin to actually see representatives elected from a broader body of the different states collecting in order to map out a way of sharing responsibilities. And so you will actually see the United States of America turning into more of, though quite different, more of a system which is reminiscent of that system, as the European Union, though of course far more closer intertwined. There will be a type of separation of and dismantling of federal power.
Okay, thank you very much.
You are very welcome.
Okay, I've got some questions from YouTube. Okay, first one is from Jennifer Cabral.
Yes.
Hi, dear Qanta and Meds. I tapped into the ISIS initiation involving the two chambers of the heart.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about mystery school knowledge emerging for me and its importance in the planetary moment?
Yes.
She probably meant movement.
Oh yes, but we do sense it's a beautiful question nonetheless. This is, again, we are talking about the pearly gates. Notice that for many years, and in many ways you could even think of Christianity as a type of mystery school for the people, but it was the idea that mysteries were hidden and you had to access them. And now you sense that these memories, so the Akashic field, is becoming open for you, and you are reconnecting with these memories. And you actually spent some time as a priestess of Isis in a temple near Naples in... Oh, this is interesting. Yes, we sense this is quite. It's prior to. It's a lifetime prior to the eruption. So you didn't die in the eruption of Pompeii and Herculaneum, but you actually lived down in that area, working in the temples of Isis, and you are becoming initiated into this, because also notice that you have some of these, you could call it Pythagorean energies, so a type of pure way of relating to other beings socially and be able to communicate that heart space. And that's what you are awakening to, is also your ability to sort of see the multidimensional light and the mystery hiding within plain sight, and then bringing it forward. And it's really you stepping into this remembrance of also these many lifetimes, and the work you have been doing, always bringing back people back to the mystery of themselves that these memories are signifying. And know that is also the great upholding mother in that way. So we believe she has that rattle of life. I know there is a rhythm in your being that upholds and keeps the movement and the moment going, both being, in a sense, two aspects of the same. So blessed you are in this endeavor. We thank you very much for that beautiful thing that you seek out and share.
Thank you. Okay, next question is from Flower City Hemp Co.
Yes.
How can we use love as a tool, and can you elaborate on unfailing love? Thank you.
Yes. You see, in a sense, you can't really use it because it, as soon as it becomes wielded with a purpose, it sort of slips out of your grasp. So love, in a sense, consolidates, or it sort of crystallizes into something denser. And to us, of course, that's also an expression of love. So even the hammer that strikes the anvil is a type of forceful love of the creator. And in that way, you can sense that when you are allowing yourself to become in alignment with that which you enjoy, that is, so you could think of it as that, the excitement principle. So are you following your excitement to the highest of your capacity with no expectation of the results? Is in many ways that formula in which you use love as a tool, because love is universal and you will uncover it wherever you seek it. But it is also a perennial mystery. That is to say that every time you feel you approach the vibration, it seems to turn a leaf, and it has that almost erotic playfulness to it, where it reveals itself to you, and you feel so intrigued. But at the same time, there is always something that is out of reach, and that is in many ways, well, love's motivation for you to keep loving and for you to keep seeking it, is that it is ever rewarding. It's a type of fountain that cannot be drained and that cannot be exhausted, and that always quenches any thirst that may be brought forward by the universe. In the perspective of love, there is no such thing as thirst or lack or deprivation.
Thank you. This is one
Thank you.
final question from, it's Karina. It's hello again, it's Karina here.
Yes.
Much love to you. The question is, Qanta, what is most beneficial for us to focus on to create the highest level of healing and the highest level of awakening. How can you help us?
Yes. And it is that feeling of joy. And of course, we could also call it bliss, but joy is in many ways, it's a sense of a precursor. It was said sometimes of ancient sages that you could recognize them by their hilarity or hilaritas, which means in many ways their good cheer. And so if you focus on what actually brings you joy or happiness and what you actually find pleasure in, and these are usually often some very childish things, because in childhood it was very obvious to you what brought you pleasure, and it might be like the type of certain stitching on a pillow, or well, being able to cuddle up with your favorite teddy bear at 8 o'clock p.m. at night and have a good long night's rest. Or it's actually a lot of these things that help you release into that healing, because notice that there is a type of cheer within you. And that's not to say to force yourself happy, but that is to say that there's always a perspective that's relishing experience in and of itself. And if you identify with that, you bring forward naturally those experiences that it is most willing and able to relish. And those are actually also the most healing and experiences of meaningful exchange and unfolding. It's a beautiful question. We bless you in that undertaking, and we do sense it is growing within all of you. Joy to the world.
Mindy has a question, please.
Yes, thank you.
Hi, Qanta. Thanks so much. My second question. My name is Mindy.
Yes, hello, Mindy. Hi.
Hi. I'm so grateful to be given the opportunity to have another question. So, I guess I wanted to ask or invite a healing. I've been having some medical issues, and I wanted to see if you saw anything there or had a healing for me.
Yes, and we do have a healing for you. First, we will transmit some energy. We would actually use a light language to do so. So, you see, around your sacrum, there sits a vortex of spiraling light and love. It has the shape of a memory that is so pure that you can only remember it coming in and out of sleep. Know this, and notice that you will from this place begin to heal yourself. See the vortex enlivening, see it spiraling out, and see it growing large and beginning to climb your spine to your senses. Now then, we sense that you also might have a follow-up. So is there a specific area that is troubling you right now?
My kidneys. I was having some issues with my kidneys and digestive diverticulitis.
Yes. You see, this is another symptom of a type of block. You know, when you come to this place where you are shifting into new energies, then of course it is quite natural that the toxins, they will begin to lodge themselves in these areas. You could think of almost the kidneys as the karmic keystones in your bodies. And we will transmit a type of frequency to them now. This is simply to remind you to clear out, and that this process that is already going on is beginning to grow. but you can use this. And again, and we gave another individual this idea of singing over the water, and you do not necessarily need to ritualize it. But if you do bless a glass of water, then you can actually imbue it with that vibration and also with your intention, and then actually guide that intention of clearing up your kidneys or something into your system, and it will begin to alleviate some of those troubles.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I definitely felt that.
We are so happy. We felt that too.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste. Our blessings to you, sweet human.
Thank you, Mindy. Kevin, you have a question?
Yeah, thanks, Kate. So before I ask my question, I just want to suggest, obviously people do their own research, but I've worked with the combo frog, which is the green flame, and it does great things for detoxifying the whole system with the liver, the kidney, the gallbladder. And last live stream, Mas talked about it a little bit too. So again, everyone do your own research, but the combo frog might be of interest to some of you guys.
We sense that was very helpful and synchronistic that you brought that information forward. So thank you very much, Kevin. It will help someone listening to this.
Great. So I'd like to revisit and then draw a correlation between the lifetime I was a Lyran geneticist, in which I put my DNA into different biological life forms and scattered them across the cosmos, and how that relates to this lifetime as I'm becoming a shepherd for the hybrid children and picking up the pieces that Inyak mentioned when we had a transmission about a month ago. If you could just correlate those two ideas.
Yes, because it's so you are mentioning it yourself. It's picking up the pieces. So there was that scattering, and now you're gathering. So and that's of course in many ways also the heartbeat of the universe. So at first you expand and then you contract, and then you find that it was more meaningful contracting after expanding than otherwise. And so in many ways you have allowed your codes to run free, and now you are consolidating them. So also notice in this lifetime you are drawn towards the densities of rocks. They give you quite a lot of comfort, because in this lifetime, and also notice that we have in this transmission been connecting to the energy of that Saint Peter, and that is in many ways that same energy of the collector, the church builder, the person who gives framework to these loose codes to be grown and let into life. And that's what you're guiding towards. And that's also so what was revealed to you earlier in this transmission by our looking into your future, that that you are actually feeling that the connection of these codes is more meaningful than the creation for them. And that is to say, in this lifetime you actually resonate more with the sense of connectivity than the sense of creativity or pure creativity. And both things are necessary, but you have actually explored one more before in earlier lifetimes, and therefore you're really enjoying this type of creative shaping of collective energies in this one.
Okay, great. And then I think a closing thought from me would be, like a lot of us on their spiritual journey, wanting it, but then basically what you mentioned in a different private session with the Syrians is let go and let live, and,
Yes.
and basically just finding that balance of wanting to stride forward and accelerate the shift, and then also just basically not wanting it and just letting it.
Exactly. And it's a very beautiful perspective, because you know the perspective that the thing a fish is least likely to notice is the water that it's swimming in, is the idea that for us, of course, you are also always on perfect track, and therefore it's so nice that we get the chance to remind you that you really can't go wrong, and that release into the unknown is really a part of the uncovering, and a way that you then align with those higher expressions of your experience.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And blessings to you too on this day. Thank you for allowing us to shed light on those questions.
Yes, thank you. We have a question from our friend Elga, a first-time question. Thank you for being
Yes.
here, Elga.
Greetings, Qanta. Blessings. Actually, there
Blessings.
are two things. Number one, is it possible that you can open my third eye more?
Yes. Can we get you to say your name?
Oh yes. Oh my name is Elga.
Yes, thank you so much. And we did get it from Kate, but it is because no names have a magic to us. So when people transmit it to us, we get to experience so much of your energy in a short instance, and that's very pleasurable to us and also allows us to help you. But yes, saying that we can actually help you open this. Notice again that you are on track, so opening it too much would also be unpleasant because then it wouldn't match up with your energies. But we would give you the opportunity. So if you could in place both your uh, index and your middle fingers from both hands on top of your third eye, and then just feel that area as we give you this vibration. We have begun this process within you. You can begin to cultivate it by repeating this exercise for yourself and enlivening it. But we have already begun, so you will sense a fluttering there that will begin to expand.
Thank you.
No
And
problem.
as we are there in this area, may we do the same thing with my ears, with my inner hearing. I would love to listen to my beloveds audibly, so I have a direct communication with them.
Yes. And there we would sense that and know this, so we would instruct you not to do this because then you can't hear what we are saying. But when you do this on yourself, it would be good for you to put the tips of your little fingers in your ears,
Yes.
and then you do the sound with the little fingers, and that
Yes.
would help you to clear out that field and that space. And then when you
Yes.
quiet down afterwards, it will be much easier for you to listen into the
Oh my
transmissions
goodness.
coming to
Thank you so much. You have any idea how happy that makes me?
We are so happy that we were able to help you, and we want to thank you for sharing your lovely energy and bless you for the work you do in this.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
There is another thing that is more like in the physical.
Yes, but we would advise you to rotate in this so other people will also get to it. But we do sense that we will get the chance to help you later, and will remind
Thank
us to
you.
circle back. Thank you.
Thank you. Namaste. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for that. My own question right here coming off of that. Would those be the same exercises for all of us of opening our eyes and our inner ears?
Yes, it would be very helpful, and you can use this because what we are transmitting is actually universal vibrations that run around and consolidate into those organs. You could think of it as. So certainly.
Thank you for that. JX has another question.
Yes, thank you.
Hello.
Hello.
So I'm not clear on the question. I was kind of just looking to connect for some guidance on my path. I've been told a lot of things that are pretty amazing, and because things have been so hard lately, I just felt like, how to keep moving forward, just to get an idea and maybe things you could suggest or focus on or tell me just
Yes.
any kind of message that you think would be for my highest good right now that will help me to, because it's like an important, seems like an important mission, and just want to make sure that I'm doing all that I can to be successful on this journey, to be of service and help the way that I'm supposed to, by divine blueprint.
Yes. And know that this is actually a very beautiful, full question. And of course, we are so happy to transmit guidance into to your situation, because notice that the mission you describe is in many ways shifting, or your purpose as a light worker is shifting. So what you have been doing recently is also a lot of grid work. So you are actually, simply by reconfiguring and going through this type of physical reconfiguration, you are also allowing a lot of energy to anchor down into your area. So you are doing a lot of people good, even though it feels hard on yourself. But then the perspective we will offer you is that you do know that a good story is usually a story where you can't predict the outcome. And so you always do this, your higher selves always do this once you're on the path of self-discovery. You really like to construct those type of cliffhangers where you feel you have explored so many patterns and you've been given so many clues, and still you can't possibly see how these things come together. And that's of course the surprise moment. That's that moment that we believe Bashar speaks of as the slingshot effect, because you go back and then you have a proportional reaction into the positive. And so the idea seen from our perspective is that you're looking to very much surprise yourself, because you will see a lot of these patterns of things that you have been shown coming together. And we sense that, for instance, the physical depletion that you are sensing now is actually forwarding. And we don't want to reveal too much, but we do sense that you're beginning to be able to transmit energy in a very pure form. And by doing that, it's a type of hands-on healing, and that will actually begin to also change your physical situations in a way that will bring you into those, that chain reaction of synchronicities where you meet the people and then have the exchanges, and they give you that piece of information, and that brings you a little forward. So that's where we sense you at, and it's just we've just sensed that we're getting a very, very positive read of your situation. So there's a lot of bright white light stemming directly from source coming into your experience. And that's not to discourage any of all of those other lovely beings that's connected here today, but it is quite special that you are in this very transitional phase. So what you are in is also, it's almost not entirely, but a lot of humans, to get into that space, they prefer to die first so they can just be there spiritually. But you're choosing to be there with your physical body at the same time, and that's actually kind of hard. So actually being able to integrate celestial energies while you're still physical. So we thank you very much for it.
Wow. Thank you.
You are welcome, and you are blessed.
Thank you. And Laura has another question, please.
Yes.
Well, Mads will enjoy the synchronicity again.
Yes.
Since coming back in reincarnating and coming back with the fresh blueprint and purpose, the only thing I want is to remain aligned with the highest octave of that blueprint and the work. And I am so, so grateful for the beautiful circle of beings that are helping integrate. And so I know sometimes I am impatient, but this is not so much about impatience, just I don't want to waste time. I feel the impetus to start expanding out, but at the same time, I'm getting lots of no's that tell me that probably I need to remain patient and continue working within and allow things to.
Yes.
What would you have me? What would you have of me in the next 6 months to be?
Because it's noticed that since there's no time in infinity, and that since essentially what you're folding into your experience, it becomes very hard to tell like when is the time of action, because of course timing is something that only takes place in these realms. So what we would have you do is to listen to the no's, but to keep note of the ideas. So that is to say that all these inspirations do actually serve you. It's just simply that if they don't feel like, if they feel like there is that resistance and that no, then it's a sign that is not something that you need to necessarily expend a lot of energy on right now, and that it's okay for you to focus on the places where you are actually helping. So notice, for instance, that there are places where you are holding space and compassion for other people, and that is very helpful to them, even though you don't feel you necessarily are undertaking any huge project. Because notice how swiftly and rapidly these energies have been changing. Again, if you were born during the Cold War, which of course in and of itself was a period of rapid change on the planet, but things seem kind of stagnant compared to the tempo that they're going on in at now. So 6 months isn't long for you to accumulate energy, and know that you are also in the space holding and integrating phase. So notice that those small things that you can do, and that might be simply just of a daily project of collecting a bouquet of flowers when the season is right, or some of those small things that just seem to accumulate a little light in your own experience, they're actually very helpful for you to undertake right now.
My love and gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you also. And our blessings. We keep adding because we want you to know that you are blessed by the heavens.
Carol has another question, please.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, I'm Carol.
Hello. Blessings. Good to meet you again.
I've had some very beautiful, magical experiences, spiritual experiences for many, many years. Also had experience in the time of Egypt, meeting Isis. He has showed me a lot of things. They've also brought me into ascension, into different levels. I believe Archangel Michael said I went as high as level 7, the 7th dimension. All the purpose to keep me inspired and to keep me alive and to see the process of the events, how the energies are really moving very fast for everyone, which is wonderful. I was just wondering, I'm feeling pretty restless. Is it possible that I still go into these dimensions to do some work? And is it possible that my restlessness feelings is that I can't wait to go back there? And is it possible that there is still part of me there?
Yes. You see, it's interesting again, because here's a type of conflict between our and the human perspective, because know that, sweet human being, that you are always there. So still there. Yes, you have been there, you are there, and you will be there, because these dimensions that are approaching eternity are places where things don't necessarily change from a human perspective. And that's actually places that you are communing with and going through, especially in your dream spaces and night travels. You go there and you adjust with these energies, and you actually help also to adjust some of the energetic grids of the planet. So it's an important piece of work, and it fills you with a lot of joy in this spiritual recollection. But of course, notice that it then becomes type of, if not painful, then at least a little melancholic, and also with a sense of restlessness that you return to your human form in the daytime, because you actually also recollect these higher vibrations. And a good way for you to sort of overcome some of this restlessness would be to build a type of high vibrational space. And this could just be a little altar. We sense a configuration of perhaps 3 of crystals that speak to you, and then some recollection of the angelic, and it could be a feather or something we sense. And then if you turn your attention to that, we feel that you will feel an integration of the remembrance of these 2 parts of your being, so both the angelic with the human, and that would help to overcome some of that restlessness.
So what I'm doing now is I'm asking to calibrate my energy. I ask myself to go to 50, 60, 70. I go slowly up to 100% for my energy to become stronger. And I've also been asking that my future self to come to me, to reveal to me my future self missions, because I feel the mission that I was put on, we've worked really hard. We've accomplished quite a lot, that I feel like Mother is finally at the place where she's finally going. That now, is it okay that I'm doing this myself, to ask to bring out my energy 100%, and permission for my future self to come to reveal to me things so that I could be more useful and less restless?
Yes, it is perfectly okay. It is commended, and we thank you for it. We are happy that you are doing this work, and know that you can't do anything wrong with it. So we are simply happy that you are aligning with the energy. And then notice, of course, that there is the future self is a type of permission slip for you to align with that sense of higher purpose or calling, because as you may know from time travel comedies and dramas, there is of course a type of circular logic, that when you make the future change the present, then the future also changes. So it can be different, but it's because you are discerning that you actually feel that there is something you would like to carry out. And we know we have used this phrase to one of the other people present in another session, but it is that we believe it's the Mission Impossible franchise that have that idea of your mission, should you choose to accept it, because no, you are always free to redefine your mission. So in looking for your mission, you are in many ways also defining it, and it's because it's what's hidden in your heart that's already present in your future. You are calling out through this exchange, and that's very meaningful, and we very much thank you for it.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you so much.
Blessings to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And Elga has one final question, please.
Yes, thank
Elga?
Yes, thank you. And this concerns I think my kidneys.
Yes.
And in general, I mean, I know that I have taken on a lot of the suffering from the collective, and that is part of my mission.
Yes.
And I was wondering, is this also part of my mission? I have been attacked recently very badly, and it has gone from my left side, from the hip, I know, even lower from the groin area, I would say, straight up to the kidneys, and that was an incredible beam of energy that was very erratic also, and that lasted for quite a while. And ever since, I have a feeling that there's something not okay, as if there has been some damage done.
Yes, it's not. We would assure you, it's not that that there has been some damage done. It is more that that beam was a beam of awareness. So you have become aware of the damage that was, or the pain that was already being held there. That is to say that we can use the image that if you turn on the light in a dirty room, then you get to see the dirt that was
Yeah.
already there before. So it's
Right.
actually helping you purify. And we will give you first, we will give you a vibrational transmission. So, and we would offer you to maybe place your hand on your kidneys, then crossed in front of your body, and then and this should actually help. That we know the kidneys have been popping up in a lot of transmissions, and this
Yeah.
should actually help all of you who are suffering from this problem. It is a way that you can work on that, but then you can also visualize a type of red laser beam. So there is something that your guides would actually like to assist you with, which is a type of purifying beam, and it's very interesting. We haven't perceived this technology before. It seems like a Syrian energy technology. It's a type of rainbow laser that sort of shifts. So you could think of it as it beams solid light into you from outside, and then it sort of shifts into density. So it solidifies. So when it becomes, for instance, red, it sort of isolates some of that poison, and then it turns yellowish bright and releases it, and dissolves it. And then they're able to do this, your guides, by focusing that beam in there. So that's a different way of allowing that process. And then eat lots of apples is sometimes is also what we're getting. That would be good.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Has that anything to do with actually the collective fear that is gathering there? Because it is connected to fear kidneys.
Yes. And it is you have absorbed a lot of the fear in your collective,
Yeah.
and we also know that notice, for instance, that we are sensing a German accent. Is this
Yes. Yes,
yes,
it is.
that and that's quite interesting, because also when the channel goes to Germany, which is not too far, he also really feels a lot of that very heavy energy that's accumulated in the collective, and it has been necessary. For instance, perhaps most famous is an example as Eckhart Tolle, but there are many light workers in Germany who have taken upon this role of accumulating a lot of fear and heavy energy within them in order to release that culture into its role as a functioning and playing a very important and positive role in the human collective, as it in many ways does now. So we would just say that in that way you are carrying a lot of some of the most dense energies on the planet from the collective. And
I was born during the war in Berlin, which was the hub of darkness at that time.
yes,
And I had my reason for that, to be there as to who I am.
yes, we sensed there was exactly. And we would thank you and remind you that it is that sense of that almost martyr spirit, or wanting to help the collective, that brought you into, yes, almost consolidating as a human being in one of the darkest situations that has ever been created by the human species.
Yes. Yes, so that is apples. Okay, thank you.
We thank you also for the work you are doing and for your lovely being and laughter. Many blessings to you.
Many blessings to you.
Yes.
Thank you, Olga. And we have Carol wanting to say something, please, and before we ask the final question. Thank
Yes.
you.
Hi, it's Carol. I wanted to mention something to the people who want to open their third eye.
Yes.
Um, to heed the carefulness of it, because I had a young girl who her third eye was very open, and she saw so many things. She was really, really open that I had to help balance her chakras. And I know that my third eye was open, and I asked to discern and to control the frequency of what uh, you have to ask the frequency of what you can take to
Yes.
Oh, God.
understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's no problem for me.
yeah, there's some things you will see that is just
But,
not right.
yeah.
Yes, but we do sense that the process for Ilga, for instance, is very guided, which it is for most of you. And we know it is that paradox because you're absolutely right, and we thank you for also sharing that and your concern, Carol, because it is that paradox that of course you are never giving more that you can handle, but of course sometimes the way you learn that is by being giving so much that it feels like you can't handle it, and that is a very heavy process. So we thank you for that. And then we also wanted to ask Kate if our sweet moderator, if there is not a question that she would like to have
Oh,
answered this day.
there I am. Thank you very, very much. It's not a question for myself. It's a question for all of us. With this being the auspicious, as you called it, I can't even say the word, of the 1111 portal, is there any activations and downloads that you can give this group and anyone that finds this message later on, please? And thank you.
Yes, this is a very, very beautiful question. Thank you so much for allowing us to bring it to you. And yes, you will be receiving downloads, and you are already receiving downloads by moving through this portal energy, but we would like to give you a specific transmission, and it goes as you have been many places, human beings, not only in this universe, but in the multiverse. You have had many shapes and forms. As an individual, you have been many things. As a personality, you have seen yourself in many shapes. But the unity is in the many shapes, and the unity you feel in that vibration of love that continues in your exhalation and in your inhalation. You are whole, healed, complete, and alive. And this aliveness, it creates, it activates, it protects, it encases, and it shows you something new and unexpected. Thank you for allowing us to give you that transmission.
Thank you. We are so humbled by your wisdom and your love for us. Thank you. That's
Thank
all
you.
our questions this day. Much love.
So, yes. So we thank you very much. And we believe that quite synchronistically, this was actually the final question. So there is no necessity necessarily to give you a prayer. We will instead leave you with a spiraling vibration and thank each and every one of you for being, for loving, for sharing, for caring, for doing, and for just simply everything. Thank you, guys. I really enjoyed that from my end. Hope think we got a lot of sweet things cleared up.
Totally beautiful, Mads.
It was
Thanks.
excellent.
Wonderful. Great. I think the next session, I'm looking, the Arcturians are strong, so I think that will probably be them, and I'm looking at the 23rd, I think. So so that's the tentative date, and thank you everyone for showing up and for sharing, beautiful people. Stay well out there. Hope to see you soon.
Thank you, and we'll see you again real soon, everyone.
Thank you. It was beautiful. Thank you. Much love.
So much.
Okay, just hit end, Elga. Down on the
Pardon?
bottom. Yeah, where it says end. Down on the bottom.
Yeah. What? I didn't hear you. What did you say?
Oh, I said we got to hit end, and there's your mute, your video, more, and then the red button says end.
Okay, the red leaf. Yeah, it says
Yeah,
leaf.
okay,
Yeah.
do that, and we'll talk in a little while. I got to go to the Biffy.
Yep.
Okay.
Leaf and leaf.
Hang up.
Should I leave that open? Leave meeting
No,
or the?
not on this one. End meeting for all. Leave
Oh,
meeting.
end meeting for all. Okay.
Yes, please. And Carol, please leave meeting as well. There's Carol.